The heartbreak behind the split of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz is not just a story of a marriage unraveling. It is the story of two people who built an empire together, only to watch it fracture under the weight of fame, ambition, and personal demons. To understand how this seismic love story began, and why it ended so painfully, we must go back to the very beginning, to the life of a young girl born in a quiet town in upstate New York. Lucille Desiree Ball was born on August 6, 1911, in Jamestown, New York. Her parents, Henry Durrell Ball and Desiree Hunt, were of modest means. Her father worked as a lineman for the Bell Telephone Company, a dangerous profession in those days, while her mother was a dedicated homemaker. Lucille's early years were defined by both love and loss. When she was just 3 years old, tragedy struck. Her father contracted typhoid fever and passed away, leaving her mother widowed and struggling to provide for 2 young children. This devastating loss left an imprint on Lucille. She would later describe how, even at such a young age, she felt the fragility of life. Her mother remarried, but the family faced financial hardship, often moving from one place to another. Despite the instability, Lucille displayed early signs of creativity. She loved to perform, mimic voices, and entertain those around her. By the time she reached her teenage years, it was clear that Lucille possessed not only an innate comic instinct, but also an iron will. At age 15, she convinced her mother to allow her to enroll in the John Murray Anderson School for the Dramatic Arts in New York City. It was here that she had her first formal exposure to the world of acting, though her teachers were not impressed. They told her she lacked talent and advised her to pursue another path. But rejection only fueled her determination. Lucille returned to Jamestown, took odd jobs to support herself, and refused to give up on her dream. Soon, she found work as a model under the name Diane Belmont, a reinvention that hinted at her lifelong ability to adapt and reimagine herself. She was strikingly beautiful, tall and photogenic, qualities that would soon open doors in Hollywood. Still, Lucille's journey was far from straightforward. Her family background instilled resilience, but it also left her with deep insecurities. She often spoke of wanting to create stability for herself, the kind she never had as a child. That yearning for security, both financial and emotional, would later shape her relationships, particularly the one with Desi Arnaz. The girl from Jamestown had endured tragedy, poverty, and rejection, yet she held on to a belief that she was meant for something greater. By the 1930s, she was ready to chase the dream in earnest. Lucille Ball, the small-town girl who had been told she had no talent, was about to prove the world spectacularly wrong. Lucille Ball arrived in Hollywood during the 1930s, a time when the studio system ruled with an iron grip. She began her career humbly, appearing as an extra in films like Roman Scandals, 1933, and Kid Millions, 1934. These early appearances were fleeting. Blink, and you'd miss her. But they provided the young actress with valuable exposure to the inner workings of the film industry. To pay her bills, she worked tirelessly, taking modeling gigs and chorus line parts. Hollywood was filled with hopefuls, and for a time, Lucille seemed destined to be one of countless aspiring starlets who never broke through. Yet, her persistence eventually earned her the nickname Queen of the B's, a nod to her frequent casting in low-budget B-movies. Her first significant breakthrough came with Stage Door, 1937, where she shared the screen with Katharine Hepburn and Ginger Rogers. Though her role was small, Lucille's comedic timing began to attract attention. Over the next decade, she built a solid resume, appearing in films like Too Many Girls, 1940, the movie that would change her life forever. Not for the role itself, but because it introduced her to a charismatic Cuban bandleader named Desi Arnaz. As the 1940s unfolded, Lucille continued to refine her comedic skills. She found a niche in screwball comedies and musicals, but despite her steady work, true stardom eluded her. Hollywood had trouble categorizing her. Too glamorous for pure comedy, too comedic for romantic leads. Studios kept her busy, but she longed for a defining role. That opportunity came in an unexpected form: radio. In 1948, she starred in the CBS radio comedy My Favorite Husband, playing Liz Cugat, a scatterbrained but lovable wife. The show was a hit, showcasing her impeccable timing and flair for physical comedy. Executives at CBS saw potential to transition the program into television, a medium still in its infancy. But there was one condition that Lucille insisted upon. Her husband, Desi Arnaz, must play her on-screen spouse. Network executives resisted. They doubted American audiences would accept an all-American redhead married to a Cuban band leader with a thick accent. But Lucille stood her ground. She understood both her comedic instincts and the power of her real-life chemistry with Desi. Her gamble paid off. In 1951, I Love Lucy premiered. The show was an instant sensation, redefining television comedy. Lucille's portrayal of the mischievous, ambitious Lucy Ricardo resonated with millions. The series innovated in ways still felt today. It pioneered the three-camera setup, filmed before a live audience, and became the first scripted television show to be recorded on high-quality film stock, ensuring its longevity in syndication. I Love Lucy became a cultural phenomenon, and Lucille Ball was no longer a supporting player. She was a bona fide star. Awards, accolades, and magazine covers followed. Yet, behind the laughter, the pressures of fame and the strains of her personal life were beginning to mount. The story of Lucille's rise is inseparable from the man by her side. Together, she and Desi Arnaz created not only one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time, but also a media empire. Still, the greater their success, the more fragile their marriage would become. The love story of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz began like something out of a Hollywood screenplay. They met on the set of Too Many Girls in 1940. Lucille was a rising actress. Desi was a magnetic Cuban musician and bandleader whose charm was undeniable. Their chemistry was immediate, fiery, and unstoppable. Just months after meeting, they eloped, marrying on November 30th, 1940. Their union was passionate but turbulent. Lucille was disciplined, ambitious, and focused on building her career. Desi, by contrast, thrived on spontaneity, music, and nightlife. Their differences both attracted and divided them. The early years of their marriage were marked by separations, reconciliations, and constant rumors of infidelity. Yet their love for each other was undeniable. When I Love Lucy premiered in 1951, the couple's real-life marriage was woven into the fabric of the show. On screen, they were America's sweethearts, Lucy and Ricky Ricardo. Off-screen, they were grappling with the challenges of balancing personal and professional lives under the glare of relentless public attention. The couple had 2 children together. Their daughter, Lucy Arnaz, was born in 1951, followed by their son, Desi Arnaz Jr., in 1953. Both children would go on to careers in entertainment, carrying forward their parents' legacy. Lucy became an accomplished actress and singer, while Desi Jr. pursued music and acting, though always under the shadow of his parents' towering fame. But marriage to Desi Arnaz was far from easy. His grueling schedule with his band, coupled with his struggles with alcohol and reported infidelities, placed immense strain on their relationship. Lucille filed for divorce in 1944, citing his unfaithfulness, but the two reconciled before the divorce was finalized. For a time, the success of I Love Lucy seemed to stabilize their bond, giving them shared purpose and pride in what they had built together. Still, the cracks widened as the 1950s progressed. Running Desilu Productions, the company they co-founded, added business stress to their already complicated marriage. While they were making television history, the personal cost was profound. Desi's reputation as a playboy was well known in Hollywood circles, and Lucille struggled with feelings of betrayal and loneliness. After nearly 20 years of marriage, the breaking point came. In 1960, Lucille Ball filed for divorce once more, this time for good. She cited extreme cruelty as the reason. The divorce shocked fans who adored the couple and believed in the illusion of their perfect love story. For Lucille, the end of her marriage to Desi Arnaz was both liberating and heartbreaking. Though their romantic relationship ended, their professional respect and deep affection endured. They remained friends for the rest of their lives, tied forever by their children and the empire they had created. Later, in 1961, Lucille remarried. Her second husband, Gary Morton, was a comedian. Unlike her stormy marriage to Desi, her life with Gary was quieter, steadier, and more private. Though it lacked the fiery passion of her first love, it gave her the stability she had always craved. But the story of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz was far from over. The true heartbreak behind their split, and the emotions that lingered long after the papers were signed, reveal the most human side of these larger-than-life figures. Decades of speculation surrounded their marriage, but in her later years, Lucille herself spoke openly about the pain that defined their union. She revealed that the divorce was not about the absence of love, but about the impossibility of sustaining it. "I loved Desi very much," she once reflected, "but we just weren't meant to be together the way we wanted to be." Those words capture the paradox of their relationship. A love so strong it created television magic, yet so volatile it couldn't survive off-screen. The heartbreak was not just personal, it was public. America had watched them fall in love as Lucy and Ricky. Fans believed they were witnessing a reflection of reality, a happily ever after unfolding on their screens. But behind the laughter, there were nights of arguments, tears, and betrayals. Lucille later admitted that the joy she portrayed on television was often a mask, concealing the turmoil she experienced at home. Desi Arnaz himself acknowledged his faults. In his autobiography, he confessed to drinking too much, working too hard, and succumbing to temptations that damaged his marriage. He spoke with remorse about how his lifestyle clashed with Lucille's need for stability. In his own words, "I screwed it up." The heartbreak for Lucille was compounded by the fact that their professional partnership was thriving even as their marriage crumbled. Together, they had revolutionized television with I Love Lucy, built Desilu Productions into a powerhouse, and reshaped the entertainment industry. Yet success only magnified the fractures in their personal lives. Perhaps the most poignant element of their story is that the love never truly died. Even after the divorce, Lucille and Desi remained deeply connected. They spoke regularly, celebrated holidays with their children, and never lost the bond forged through years of struggle and triumph. When Desi Arnaz was dying of lung cancer in 1986, Lucille was there, speaking to him one final time on the phone. Her last words to him were simple and devastatingly honest. "I love you." The heartbreak of their split was not about bitterness or resentment. It was about two people whose lives had grown too complex, whose personalities too combustible, to sustain a marriage. And yet, the love that first drew them together never entirely faded. For Lucille Ball, the heartbreak behind her split from Desi Arnaz was not just a personal tragedy. It was a lesson in the cost of ambition, fame, and love lived in the spotlight. It remains one of the most poignant chapters in Hollywood history, a reminder that even the brightest stars carry shadows. After her divorce from Desi Arnaz, Lucille Ball entered a new chapter in her life and career. In 1962, she took full control of Desilu Productions, becoming the first woman to head a major television studio. Under her leadership, the company produced groundbreaking shows such as Star Trek and Mission: Impossible, further cementing her influence on American television. Her remarriage to Gary Morton in 1961 provided her with a sense of stability. Though less passionate than her relationship with Desi, it was rooted in companionship and mutual respect. Gary stood by her side during her later career endeavors as she transitioned into new projects, including the sitcoms The Lucy Show and Here's Lucy. Both were successful, running for years and keeping Lucille in the spotlight well into the 1970s. In the 1980s, Lucille Ball attempted one final television comeback with Life with Lucy, 1986, though the show was short-lived. By then, she was recognized not just as an actress, but as a television pioneer. She had broken barriers for women in the industry, proving that they could lead both in front of and behind the camera. Her personal life remained intertwined with her legacy. She continued to maintain a respectful relationship with Desi Arnaz, even after their divorce. When he passed away in 1986, just one day before what would have been their 46th wedding anniversary, Lucille was devastated. Friends recall that she wept openly, her love for him undiminished by time or separation. Just 3 years later, on April 26, 1989, Lucille Ball herself passed away at the age of 77, following surgery for a ruptured abdominal aorta. Her death marked the end of an era. Fans around the world mourned the loss of the woman who had brought so much laughter into their homes. But her legacy endures. Lucille Ball remains one of the most influential figures in entertainment history. She redefined television comedy with her fearless physicality and impeccable timing. She shattered glass ceilings as a female studio head, and she left behind a body of work that continues to inspire generations of actors, comedians, and creators. Her story is more than one of stardom. It is a story of resilience, love, and heartbreak. The split from Desi Arnaz may have been her greatest personal sorrow, but it also revealed the depth of her humanity. Together, they changed television forever, and apart, they remained bound by love until the very end. The tale of Lucille Ball is a reminder that behind every iconic image lies a complex person. She was not only Lucy Ricardo, the woman who made the world laugh, but also Lucille, the woman who endured heartbreak, pursued her dreams relentlessly, and left a legacy that will never fade. And so, her story concludes not in tragedy, but in triumph. For even in heartbreak, Lucille Ball revealed the courage and strength that made her unforgettable.